difficult in Gaza, this intercalation.
Professor Norman Finkelstein, the role of the United States right now and the role this government plays in Israel and Palestine.
Well, the role is critical, and it comes out, I think, quite clearly in Tom Segev's book. The Israelis have always feared what the reaction of the United States would be in the event that they take any initiatives. In 1956, when Israel invaded the Sinai, it was the United States that forced them back. And in June 1967, the main fear of the Israeli leadership, as well as those who were out of leadership, like Ben-Gurion, so Ben-Gurion, the Prime Minister Levi Eshkol, and others, the main fear was not the Arabs, not defeating Nasser. That was a done deal in their minds. The fear was the United States. Would the United States force them to leave unconditionally, as it forced them to leave in 1956? That's what was holding up the war. The Israelis wanted already, the generals wanted already to attack on May 25th. But the Israeli government kept saying, we have to take into account the Americans. We have to see what the Americans will say. And so at every step along the way in June '67, it was the possibility of the Americans interposing themselves and forcing a withdrawal that was an unconditional withdrawal that was uppermost in the minds of the Americans. And also, Segev accurately quotes Israelis, once the occupation began, the Israelis are concerned, how will the United States react in the event that this occupation begins to look like it's going to be permanent? What's going to happen if Israel decides to annex Jerusalem? And I think Tom Segev has a very interesting account of how Israel was pretending only to extend administrative law to Jerusalem because they're fearful of the American reaction. The United States had huge leverage then, and the United States continues to have huge leverage today in determining what Israel does or doesn't do, in not only with regard to the Palestinians, but regionally.
Mona Farah, you are traveling the country in a tour, speaking. Yesterday you spoke at the United Nations. What is the main message you have to people here in this country, in the United States?
The main message is that occupation, war will never bring peace to the area, and only peace that is based on justice will bring settlement and peace to the area.
Tom Segev, as you come to this country, what do you think is the important message?
I can agree with Mona. I think that particularly American friends of Israel should redefine their friendship for Israel. Friendship for Israel does not mean support the government at all times. And I think they should make a distinction between Israel and the government of Israel, just as they do that for their own country. Why not do it for Israel? There are many, many Israelis who object to the occupation. Nothing you will say in your rally in Washington will be new to Israeli ears. In fact, the public debate in Israel is much, much more open than it is in this country regarding the future of the territories. And so I think that it's very important that people realize that friendship to Israel does not necessarily mean support the occupation of the territories. On the contrary.
We're going to have to leave it there. I thank you all for being with us. Tom Segev, author of 1967, Israel, the War and the Year That Transformed the Middle East. Dr. Mona El-Farra, on a tour around the United States with the Middle East Children's Alliance, writes the blog From Gaza with Love, has grown up in and lives in Gaza. Norman Finkelstein, professor of political science at DePaul University. His book is Beyond Chutzpah and the Misuse of Anti-Semitism, the Abuse of History, speaking to us from Chicago. And that does it for our show. Tomorrow, Saturday afternoon,